Anyways, so I met Dan before I moved here. Now, San Francisco, for a lot of you that don't know your history, San Francisco was one of the hotbeds that Lindy Hop really started coming back with. So in the 80s and the early 90s, I was a kid, I don't remember. Shut up. We had like this Metronome ballroom in San Francisco, and one night was West Coast Swing Night, and one night was Lindy Hop, and everybody just kind of did everything. And so we would go to these dances, but when I got really traveling the West Coast Swing circuit, it wasn't as mixed as it was in San Francisco, where it was very, very mixed. And so in the 90s, I met Dan at an event, and we started talking, and I said, oh, I love this, I love that. And he said, how'd you start? I said, actually, I started doing kind of East Coast swing, jitterbug, kind of not really a name, just fast swing. And he goes, oh, and I said, then I learned West Coast swing, and I learned a little Lindy Hop and St. Louis shag and blah, blah, blah. And he said, oh, that's great, in the Northeast, we really combine the two, and it's really great. So when I moved here in '99, and actually I went to my first event, which was Neil Klein, actually. The first Northeast event I ever went to was Swinging in New England. First Neil. That first Swinging in New England, which was awesome, because he had a big band in the ballroom, and the West Coast and Lindy all came together, and Dan was there, and I met Dan there, so Dan, to all the rest of us, not in the Northeast, was just this always happy guy, always giving us CDs for new music we should dance to. A CD is this round thing. And you put Show of hands anybody in here actually has ever owned an album. Anybody? Great. Show of hands in here anybody who's never owned an album. Great. Those people with your hands up should be slapped. So anyways, so Dan was just always this great guy, and then when I moved here, one of the first things he did was hire me to work Boston Tea Party. And I got to know so many of the new generation of Lindy Hoppers, so many who are like, shut up, let's dance already, but those people that are over there. And what's really sad is that I feel like Dan was one of those guys that was like, let's always keep West Coast Swing and Lindy Hop coexisting together, because there's a lot we can learn from each other, a lot. I know one dance has soul and one dance doesn't, and one dance has technique and one dance doesn't, and none of that. It's all swing. Some of us just like to be spray tanned with rhinestones, but other than that, that's funny. Because it's true. And so I'm so glad that even as we lost Dan this year, this event is going to continue on being one of the few crossover events in the United States. And I think that is a fantastic memorial to Dan Mez, the happy guy that I just knew around the circuit that always wanted to just promote swing. He didn't care, he just wanted to promote swing, and I think that's pretty amazing. So the new owner of this event, the woman who's taken that up and really wanted to carry on that memory and was friends with Dan and was with Dan through his final days, she took this on at a very last minute, actually. This is a big venture to take on, and I really appreciate so much of what she's done. She's gonna come out here and talk to you for a minute, but as she walks out here, again, this is a big deal. She was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I need you to make a lot of noise for Nanette. Give it up for Nanette Solid, come on! Yeah, that's right. Respect.
So Dan Mez was a friend of mine, and Dan lived his life with courage, grace, and gratitude. Courage in dealing with a long illness that was at times disabling and discouraging, but with grace in how he accepted his difficulties without complaint. He never gave up his joy for living and gratitude. He never expected kindness from anyone, but he was grateful for the gifts he had of good friends, of music, and of dance. Dan was a passionate man He was passionate about the dance he loved. He wanted to share it with as many people as he could. And he had a special place for young dancers, and he always tried to support them. So this year, in Dan's honor, we will be starting a scholarship for young dancers. It was one of Dan's last wishes, and he named it Swing Kids with a Z. And it's his way of paying forward his joy of the dance and helping it to continue. So in Dan's memory, I am asking every one of you in this room to consider paying it forward. When you return to your local swing community, wherever that may be, return a little bit to your community to keep it going, to make it more welcoming, to make it more a wonderful place for dancers to come and be. Encourage your promoters, thank your teachers, ask a new person to dance, talk to someone, make people feel welcome. Whatever little or big piece that you can do. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to have a little fundraiser. The pro staff has offered graciously to give mini private lessons. We'll have sign-ups during the comp times tomorrow if anybody's interested in participating, and you'll hear more about that later. But I'd like to repeat Dan's favorite line as we move forward to the invitational. It's all swing. Thank you.